So welcome everyone to today's episode where I'll be sharing the exact energetic blueprint I am using to scale to £1 million in the next 12 months in my business. The reason that I'm talking about this today in this episode is because I feel like 2025 has brought in so many different changes, so many different internal shifts. And I feel like this is the year, I think, for a lot of people where everything has changed. And in numerology, this is the year where you are meant to shed all of the old skin. It's also the year of the snake. So I feel like everybody's just gone through that internal kind of cleaning. But I think this was the year where everything changed for a lot of people, and everybody's experienced that sort of pivotal moment where you get to rewrite your story and build something new. And I think that was the case for me in 2025. So I think it was in August that I had this realization that I can either continue being the same version of myself that I've always been, or I can choose to rewrite everything. And that was that big decision that I've made. So I think on the entrepreneurial journey, everyone will come up against this point, and it's almost like you come up against your limits. And those limits are things that you've experienced before. For example, you could have the same situation happen time and time again, or you could have, for example, earn the same amount of money every single month. And you're like, why are things not changing? Why am I always coming up against this point where nothing seems to move beyond that? And there's absolutely nothing that you can do at that time to change those circumstances. And I think it's that moment where you hit that brick wall, a wall that you know so well because you've faced so many times, and you have to decide that you are going to change things going forward. But it's such an internal shift. There's nothing more that you need to do externally. So I think that was the case for me this year. And the reason that I'm going to explore this in today's episode is because since I've decided that I'm going to do this, that I'm going to go and try to go all in, achieve all the things that I set my mind to, I've already realized how difficult this is going to be. And I know we've spoken so much about this over the last couple of weeks. I feel like I have had such an ego death. Like the second that I decided I was going to do this, everything started to change. And there's just been so many different levels to this. So what we're going to be talking about in today's episode is not just the journey that I'm on, but I think it's pivotal moments that every single person will come up against when they decide to go all in and do the things that really matter to them. And how much internal conflict actually comes from that. So I'm going to be sharing exactly what has happened over the past couple of months. And then we're going to move on to some Q&A questions that have been submitted in the membership. Because then it means I can answer all of the questions that everybody has.
So you said August was a pivotal moment in through this year. When you hit that wall, how did you feel, and how did you know it was different to when you've hit a wall previously?
So this is really interesting. So the way energy moves is it spirals. So people think, oh, well, I'm facing the same problem again, so that must mean that I'm doing something wrong. And it doesn't mean that. It actually just means you've come up against this problem so many times. So it's your opportunity to say, okay, well, I'm going to respond differently this time. I'm going to rewrite the story this time. So I think when you come up against the same problems, there's that realization that you've experienced this so many times, and the level of frustration, like it's borderline anger, I think, sometimes when you've had the same situation or you've tried the same thing so many times and you get the same outcome, and it's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why am I still here? Why am I still experiencing this? And it happens a lot in relationships as well, where you'll have the same problems just recurring all the time. And no matter which angle you approach that situation at, you still get the same outcome. So I think for me, August was that moment where I was so angry with myself, like so frustrated that I was still at this same point despite all of the work that I've put in. So in August, that's when I decided if you're gonna have a business and you're gonna teach about energy and you're gonna do all the things that you want to do, you have to go all in. Like there is no limit to this. You have to go all the way. It's not gonna be like, oh, I reach a certain level of income and then I'm happy, or I have this certain impact and then I can finally rest. Like if you're going to do it, like you have to go all the way. You have to be a living example of everything you teach, because everything that I teach is not just at one level, it's at every level. And I think a lot of people realize that when they go on this journey to build a business, it is like energy work on crack. Like it is personal development on crack, because it's not just like you realize something at that level and that's it. It's like a continuous evolution of you. And every single issue that you've had that you've dealt with will just resurface in a different light. And you just have to face that all over again. So August for me was when I decided to burn my business to the ground. Essentially, I was doing energy readings every single day. Sometimes I was doing about 4 or 5 energy readings a day. And by the end of the day, I had lost my voice. Like, I just couldn't open my mouth. So I was so tired. But on top of that, my business wasn't moving in the direction that I thought it was. And I was so capped because I was spending so much time delivering all of these services and things. So August for me was when I decided I'm going to remove all my streams of income and decide to actually go all in, rewrite my business, and actually focus on the vision that I wanted for my future, the impact that I wanted to have, like the movement that I wanted to create. Like, this wasn't just going to be a business for me. This was going to be so much more. It was going to be about impact. It was going to be about moving people forward. It was going to be about changing how we view certain things. So August was really that for me. And since then, a lot of things have changed. I know we've spoken briefly about those things, and I talk a lot about the things that I've realized as I'm realizing it. And I think sometimes it can be quite overwhelming to listen to.
It's just funny that you're saying about August being so pivotal, because you was actually doing quite well in August.
That's actually so funny that you say that, because I think sometimes when we think about the biggest moments where people change their life is usually at the lowest point, isn't it? It's like, oh, well, everything's going wrong and blah, 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 blah. And then they immediately think, okay, well, I'm going to change everything from this point. Mine didn't come from that. And that's so different to how it normally is, because I normally tend to change my life or have my biggest realizations when things go wrong. But this actually came when things were going so well. But internally, I was so mismatched to that reality. Like, things were going well. Business was great. I was selling out all of my things that I was doing, like videos are going viral, everything, all of the impact that I wanted to have was there. But I was so mismatched to it because I wasn't able to manage myself outside of that. So I wasn't having the necessarily impact that I wanted to have. I wasn't being able to inspire people in the way that I wanted to. I wasn't doing the work that really was important to me. So I kind of just felt like, yeah, I'm making the money. Yes, I'm doing all the things that I said I wanted to do, but this isn't the idea that I had about what it was supposed to be like.
So even though things were going well, you still thought that you was stuck?
I don't even feel like it was stuck. It was this inner feeling that this isn't right for me. And I think that's something I see so often, is because we have like unlimited resources available to us about how to start a business, how to make money, how to do all the things that you want to do. There is so much information online. Like, you could read every single Alex Hormozi book and know instantly what business to run, how to run it, and what's going to work and what isn't. But I think it takes a certain type of person to be able to sit there and say, this isn't for me. This isn't how I want to run my business. This isn't how I want to bring money in. This isn't the impact I want to have. And actually doing something about it, not just sitting in the uncomfortable feelings and being like, oh, well, I make money, so it must be fine. It's like, no, you were meant to do it a certain way. That's like what you come here to do. You were meant to live that certain life and inspire people in that specific way. And I think it does take a certain type of person to be able to say, I'm so mismatched to this right now. And it's not that it's not going well, it is, but it's not for me and it's not the way I want to do it. And leading on from that, the biggest thing I think that changed in August for me was I have always had a massive fear of visibility, which sounds insane because I'm posting content and, I'm sat here doing a podcast. But I've always had this fear of visibility around showing up. And everybody talks about this fear of visibility, but what actually is it? I think oftentimes it comes across like you can make content, but it won't actually be what you want to say or how you want to say it. Or you could have something that goes really well, and then the second that goes well, you don't know what to do with yourself. Like, I have had videos that go viral, and then instantly for like the next 2 weeks, I won't post. And fear of visibility is not just being seen doing it wrong, it's being seen full stop. Like, doing anything in any sort of way. And that has played on my mind for so long. So in August, when I decided that I'm going to burn my business to the ground, I'm going to try to hit that first million in the next 12 months. I knew that I had to document this because I didn't want to start another journey and have the same problem where I'm not being fully visible. I'm not being in my authentic truth. I'm not saying the things I want to say, how I want to say it. So for me, starting this journey, I had to document it. I had to allow people to see the vulnerable aspects of this, all of the moments where it goes wrong, all of the breakdowns, all the realizations. Like I had to let people in because for me, it was kind of like I was finally dealing with this part of myself that just didn't ever want to be seen. And like, no, well, you're going to be seen and you're going to be seen in all of it, not just at the wins.
Can you talk about like what kind of things you did? What was it that you changed at that time? And how did you get past the thought of, you know, failing when you was online and or getting it wrong and just being genuine? How did you change to just accept it?
Do you know what? You just made me realize. So that in August, when I decided that I'm going to document this journey, I didn't really give myself a chance to think about it properly because I knew the longer that I thought about, oh, you're going to document this journey and everybody's going to see it, like all the shame's going to creep in and you're just going to feel terrible because everybody's going to see it. And I just thought, no, straight away, I'm going to make a video. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm owning it. I'm just going with the flow right now. I'm not going to think about it. And then that video was posted that I was documenting this journey. This is what I'm doing for the next 12 months. Like, join me on the journey, blah, thing. And I remember 3 people that I used to work with somehow found my video and liked it and followed me. So bearing in mind, like, my account is for the people it's for. There's not many people that I know that follow me on this account because it's just not their type of thing. But then 3 people that I used to work with followed the account and liked the video. And then because they'd seen it, the algorithm thought everybody else that I knew would want to see it as well. So then everybody just started. It was like the second that I committed to not being scared of being visible anymore, and the second that I decided, you know, if people are going to see me, they're going to see all of it. It's like the algorithm just took that and ran with it and then showed it to everybody that I could possibly know, like people that I worked with 4 years ago, people that I worked with when I was 16, like friends and family and all the things. And it's funny that you mentioned that because I think that was like the biggest thing that changed for me is the second that I seen everybody was now watching me do this. Like everybody that I was afraid of seeing the journey now was seeing the journey. I just was overwhelmed with like shame and fear that now everybody's going to watch me fail at this. But there was a moment where I had this thought, which was, if I don't hit this in the next 12 months, it really doesn't matter because I am going to continue no matter what. So it's not like if I don't hit this in 12 months, the time frame is going to shape me or define me. It's like I'm going to hit this regardless. It doesn't matter about the time. So I think that shame then kind of subsided a little bit. And I think that was the first time in my life I've actually sat with shame in that way. Because I think when you have a fear of visibility, it doesn't just play into content, it plays into every single area of your life. Like you hide away in the rooms that you should really be standing tall in, or you like have certain relationships with certain people, but it's not the relationship you wanted, but it's just what you accepted. And it's like, it plays into every single area of your life. And it's only when you finally allow yourself to sit with the shame of, okay, well, I'm going to be confident here, not because I need to, but because I want to. I think it changes everything. I just want to mention this part about the fear of visibility because I have been running a lot of programs recently with a lot of clients who are experiencing this, and it needs to be said, which is that the fear of visibility is not just like you are afraid to be seen. It's also when things go well, you cannot regulate yourself when things go well. So like I mentioned before, I had that video that did really well. I think it got around 2 million views, and then I didn't post for 2 weeks. And I think people often wonder why when things go well and they build, you know, momentum behind things, they're launching this program and it starts to sell out, they cannot handle the pressure of that. They cannot. And it's not because they don't want the success. It's that it's so unfamiliar. It's so alien to them that they don't know what to do in that situation. Like when I say that, everybody thinks, well, if I started earning more money, then I would be great. Like I would be so comfortable around that. I'd be so happy. And it's like, yeah, but then you would immediately decide to spend it all. Like when people think about winning the lottery, they immediately think, well, I'm going to spend it on this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. That's not someone that's regulated. That's someone that's desperately trying to get rid of the money because they're not comfortable with it. And I think when you start to understand it in that way, like you can have so many things go well in your business, so many things go well in your life. And if you're not ready to be at that level yet. Like, you don't associate yourself with that level. You haven't aligned with it. You haven't been able to regulate yourself at it. You will self-sabotage. Like, you will either stop showing up, you won't post as often, you will do things that you wouldn't normally do, like make stupid decisions, make impulsive decisions. And I think when you understand the fear of visibility is much more than just a fear of failing, it's also a fear of succeeding as well, a fear of being seen doing well because it's going to mean X, Y, Z. Then it just opens a lot of doors, I think. So I'm just going to quickly mention about a client of mine because I spoke to her not too long ago, and she said something to me that just put all of this into perspective massively. So when we discussed about taking action towards doing the high ticket sales, we were mapping it out, we were planning it. She said to me, well, I still need to figure out this first. I'm not like ready to do that yet. I need to figure out this thing, or I need to do this. And I'm still kind of guessing at this part. And it got to like the third call that we had. And I said, can I be honest? And she was like, yeah, of course, be honest. And I said, you keep telling me that you're guessing at things, but you've been in business like longer than most people I know. You are more than experienced. You've put in the reps. Like, there's nothing more you need to know. It's just the execution part that you're not comfortable with. And I think you're waiting for yourself to feel ready, and you're just never going to feel ready for this because it requires a new version of you that you're not ready to be. So that can also play into the fear of visibility, is that keeping yourself in this place where you've always got a problem to fix, you've always got something that you can occupy yourself with to keep yourself distracted, so you don't actually have to put yourself out there and do the things that you want to do, whether it's high ticket sales, whether it's just posting on social media or going live on Instagram or running a program that you've always wanted to do. I think if you keep yourself in that space where you're constantly guessing or you always have a problem to fix, it is self-sabotage. It is literally just to avoid putting yourself out there in that way. And the more that you're able to regulate yourself through that, the easier it'll be to face those moments.
So do you feel that it's more about becoming the person first before you actually get to where you want to get to? For example, if you want to be someone who earns millions, you need to become a person that earns millions even before you've earned your first million.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like everybody always asks, like, what comes first? Is it the action? Is it the internal shift? And I honestly think it is an internal commitment that you have to make to yourself, that you're going to do it. Like, you're going to do the thing you set your mind to, because then it's not an option of, okay, well, how am I going to do it? It's like, I'm going to do it and I'm just going to figure it out. Like, I'm going to figure out. Whereas if it's like, okay, well, I've got to figure out how I'm going to do it first, then you will find problems with everything because you haven't made that internal commitment. And it's so much more about the moving parts. Okay, well, I need to have this system and I'm not ready for that. Or I need to hire this person and I'm not ready to do that. And it becomes about everything else and not you. So I definitely think anytime you're going to make a commitment to do something bigger than where you are, you've got to make that internal shift. You've got to have that level of self-trust that you are going to figure it out regardless of what is thrown in your path or what problems pop up.
So you need to be the person that does these things before you have what you want.
Yeah, I think you've got to be the person that does all the things that you want to do and actually do them. Like, I've had clients in the past who will say things like, oh, well, you know, I've done all the mindset work, Chelsea, I've hired every single coach you could possibly imagine. I've done the Reiki, I've done this mode of healing. You know, I have revisited my entire childhood. There's nothing more that I can explore, but my life's still not changing. And it's like, okay, but what if the problem isn't that you didn't know enough? What if the problem is just that you haven't then applied that knowledge into doing something about it? So I always use this example, which is that you need to get in the arena. And we spoke about this like not too long ago, which is that you can spend so long thinking about being in the arena, being on the stage. What am I going to do? What am I going to say? What is it going to be like? And it's like, you can sit and think and plan for so many years of your life about how you're going to do it, how you're going to make it work. But then when you get on the stage, you will immediately become so aware of that you didn't prepare enough, or it was so much different to what you thought it was going to be, or you didn't sound right when you said that thing, or the audience didn't quite get that joke, or you will find faults with all of it. So the thing isn't about how prepared can I be for this thing, how many years can I dedicate to preparing for this journey. It's like, no, you've just got to walk it. Like, the path will reveal itself as you walk it. And that's why that internal shift is so important, is because the level of self-trust you have when you get in the arena and you've already made the commitment that you're going to do it, it's like none of that matters. Like none of the how, none of the, okay, well, how's this going to work, or how's that going to happen, or what are they going to think? None of that is important, because you just are the person. You can hold yourself to that level, and you stop tunnel visioning on the things that just can take your attention away. So it is definitely so much more about that.
Can we talk about this just for a second? You might want to cut this out, I don't know. But I'm just going to ask you, you have had moments where you have been really excited to plan something. You've been really wanting to get out there, get in the arena. And then after you've planned it, the energy's faded.
Okay.
And then you couldn't be bothered to do it, or you just like wanting to give it up. How did you get yourself to do these things?
So we're going to talk about this because this is so fascinating to me. And I only realized this recently. I am somebody that loves a good plan. So I typically, to avoid these ADHD type symptoms, I will obsess over a plan. Okay, well, it's planned out properly, then it's all going to go great and it's all going to be fantastic and this is going to happen and then this. Planning sometimes is you trying to control something that you don't feel safe letting go of. And I think when I really faced that reality, which was like, I plan because I like control. And I don't trust it's going to happen if I let go of the control. If I detach just the smallest amount, it's not going to happen. So it goes back to this like self-sabotage, which is that you can continue to distract yourself from things because you are trying to build a better plan, or you're trying to build a better offer, or you're trying to do this. And like planning is a big element of that, which is that you need to plan enough so that you feel comfortable that it's going to happen, but you don't need to keep replanning. For me, what I would do is I would make a plan. I would stick to it for like 2 weeks. The energy would die off, and then I would make a better plan. And it was like I was always building something because it took me away from actually executing and being seen at that level that I wasn't comfortable being seen at. So for me, I was always rebuilding the foundations because it kept me busy and it kept me distracted. So yeah, I think planning is one of the ways that a lot of people will get lost in their business, is thinking that they need the best plan. It's nothing to do with the plan. And I think that is especially evident if you are earning less than £10,000 a month. Your biggest asset is being yourself and being as fully authentic and visible as you can be. After that, you can worry about a plan. After that, you can worry about the systems that you've got, automations, all the back end stuff that you don't think about on a day to day. But before you reach that level, it is so much more about you. It is so much more about how you can keep facing yourself and getting past those limits.
So it's kind of like getting past, because I think when you plan things, it can almost feel like it's done.
Yeah.
Once you've done the plan, but you've still got to actually get out there and get in there and get it done.
Yeah.
So it's getting that mindset of,
That's half the illusion most of the time, is that when you discuss with people what you're going to do, you assume that it's done. Like your mind will go to that level of, oh, well, I've done it now, I've got it out. And it's like, well, no, that wasn't the thing. The thing was that you have to be seen doing it. You have to actually execute the tasks, not just talk about them. And we read that in a book that you had, which was, what was the book called?
Ego is the enemy.
Yeah. So we read that in that book. And I remember when I first read that, I was like, that is so fascinating. Half of your energy will be wasted telling people about what you're going to do before you've actually done it. And it gives you this false sense of, oh, I've achieved something. It's like, no, you haven't. Like what you're looking for in those conversations is someone to validate what you're going to do. So you have that sort of, you can believe in yourself a little bit more, or validate yourself, or trust the plan a little bit more. But it's like, no, you have to actually get yourself out there and do the things. That's when the real journey starts. That's when the real awakening starts, is when you actually start taking steps towards doing it. So planning and talking and doing all the things and journaling and saying the affirmations is fantastic, but it will not move you like just getting in the arena actually will. Because in the arena is when you become so aware of all of the bullshit that you still carry with you, and all the ideas and the beliefs that actually limit you in so many ways, and how prepared you are, or how much you didn't prepare for that thing. And it's like when you actually get in the arena and do it, that's when everything becomes apparent. So one thing I will speak about on this journey that I've realized so far is the amount of internal conflict that a journey like this will create. because it becomes a battle with this version of yourself that you're ready to be and this old version that keeps creeping back up that's like, I'm not done yet. And you have to kind of decide which version of yourself you're going to be. And for me, a lot of the internal conflict has come from doing things that I would normally do, but then questioning it so much more. So when I would normally self-sabotage or when I would normally rest, I'm like mixing the two up. I'm like, well, you're resting, but are you secretly self-sabotaging? And it's like this level of awareness now has just swooped into everything, and I'm just overanalyzing a lot of this. And I think it's so natural for you to start looking at things with fresh eyes, but you can take it a step too far. And I think I've definitely done that. I've had so many sleepless nights over the past couple of weeks over tiny little things that don't matter. But because I'm blowing it out of proportion, because I'm so aware of where I'm going now, that I'm making it mean something it isn't. So I think a journey like this, or a journey where you are going to increase your income or doing something incredible in your life that you've always wanted to do, or, you know, you're just going all in on the thing you actually want to do, you have to have a level of compassion for yourself that you have never had before. And I think that's the only reason why this year has been so different for me, is because I have had a level of compassion for myself that I've never had. And that really plays into discipline. Discipline and consistency is a level of self-love that is unmatched. Everybody thinks, okay, well, if I just plan the right thing or I do the right thing, then I'm going to be more consistent. And it's like, no, you just have to love yourself enough to keep showing up, love yourself enough to keep regulating yourself when you need it most. So a lot of that internal conflict, I think, has come from not necessarily having that level of love that I needed to. But now that I've got that awareness of, okay, well, that's where I'm going, that's what I'm doing, I'm able to just kind of switch myself back, being like, okay, well, maybe it's not self-sabotage. Maybe it's just that you need rest right now. Maybe it's not this. Maybe you just need to chill out.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask, in August, is you talk about it being probably the most pivotal month. You completely rebranded. You rebuilt. You rebranded.
I did do that.
Now, although that was important for you to do that, how do people move forward without completely, burning their businesses down to the ground like you have?
Mm-hmm.
How is it important? How can you pick out the important parts? What can they do in their businesses so that they don't have to destroy everything?
I think it's understanding what you've outgrown and be willing to give those things up. And it's not like, yes, I went to the extreme and burned my business to the ground. Not everybody has to do that. I think there will come a moment when you know that you've outgrown certain things, and a lot of people, when they have that realization, they just keep maintaining them because they don't know what else to do. And this is so common when you get past like the £10,000 a month mark, maybe into the 50,000. Like, I have had clients who are continually doing the same things all the time because they don't know what else to do. But because they've now got something to lose, it's like, well, I don't want to lose this. And it's like, if you're going to make a big change in your life, you are going to lose something. You are going to have to sacrifice something. And oftentimes that is money, or it is a version of yourself that you just can't quite part with yet, or a relationship that you've had, or friendships that you've had, or things like that. You have to let go of the things that you have outgrown. And the reason why is because I view them like weeds. Like, weeds will just spread. Like, you will just end up with a garden full of weeds. So the quicker that you can make that realization and make that decision and remove those things and understand there is going to be a loss, but it's like that loss is making room for the things that are about to come in. It's not just a loss. It's a loss that I'm going to replace with something else, that I get to replace with something else because I've made room for it. So
would you say it's more of a personal battle within than things going wrong externally? Yeah, it's more within. Yeah, because even though, like you said, you was doing well in August, you personally, you didn't feel the growth within yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be that everything goes wrong and that's why you think, okay, well, I'm just going to burn it to the ground and start again. Some people it isn't that. Some people don't have that moment where everything goes wrong and they're at that really low point where they have nowhere else to look but up. Like, some people have things going really well and they get too complacent and they stop growing because things get too comfortable and too easy to do. And it's like, okay, but you have so many things now that you could let go of in that time, but you're not willing to do it because you've got something to lose. So not everybody's going to have that moment where everything changes, but some people are going to have that realization that they've got far too complacent, and maybe it's listening to this right now, that things have to be let go of in order to make room for where you're going.
Hopefully they are listening to this and, you know, getting that boost of sort shit out.
Right, should we move on to the questions?
Okay,
so these are the questions that people have asked inside the Energetic Blueprint membership. So every month, people submit all of their questions and we answer them in the podcast episodes.
Okay, so how do you actually believe you can make $1 million when you've never made anything close to that before? Like, how do you not feel you're delusional?
Okay, so I think when you set a goal or you decide that you're going to do anything in your life, you assume that the only reason why you would do that is because it's like a logical next step. Like a lot of people think, okay, well, I've maybe hit the £70,000 a month mark. You know, it makes sense to just go to 85 because then you've crossed the million point, right? Where it's like, that's not the point. Sometimes you can commit to doing something that you're so not ready for. Nothing in your reality is ready for that. Like, it's such a big jump. It literally is a quantum leap. I think most people assume that you have to feel ready or it has to feel like that next step, but it doesn't have to feel like that. Like, if you have that desire to do it, you have the desire for a reason. It is a possibility. You are limited. You are unlimited. You have unlimited resources. Like, to get to that point is inevitable for a lot of people. So a lot of people think big goals require proof first. Like, oh, well, I'm moving in that direction anyway, so it makes logical sense to just go to that next step. But it doesn't have to be that at all. You can decide to do anything in your life and go and do it and change everything and just rewrite your story completely. Like, some people will leave a 9-to-5 job, travel halfway across the world, move country with no plan, no real idea of what they're doing. And it's like, that level of commitment to doing something else, it doesn't come from logic. It comes from that feeling in your belly that like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I could definitely do more than this, or yeah, I'm ready for this. You don't need your reality to validate that decision. You just need to have that level of self-trust and commitment to yourself that you're going to do it. So I think, yeah, for a lot of people, this decision is delusional. And I remember the first time I input the thing that I was going to do in ChatGPT, and I was like, help me plan it out. And then ChatGPT was trying to humble me and telling me that, you know, it's unrealistic and it's not possible. And it's like, I understand that, but I don't care at the same time, because I have had moments where I have, for example, had a business goal and I'm like, okay, well, I want to earn this amount of money every single month, and then far exceed that for no apparent reason other than that things just went really well that month, but it was unpredictable. Like, I couldn't have predicted that. So I think to make goals that make logical sense to me is to limit yourself so much. You've just got to make goals that sit well with you and that you feel ready for.
I think this leads nicely into the next question, where someone has said, I want to aim for big goals like you, but what if I fail publicly? What if I say I'm going to make 100k months and then I don't? Isn't that embarrassing?
I think it depends on your perspective. I think it massively depends on your perspective. If you are under the impression that this journey is going to define you, or what other people think about you is going to define you, then yeah, that is like such a scary journey to embark upon. And this goes to show a lot about our comfort zone, because I am utterly convinced that you do not exist outside of your comfort zone. Like, your mind is going to tell you, okay, well, if you leave your comfort zone and you do something that's embarrassing and you experience shame, then you're going to be ostracized from your community. You're not going to eat. You're not going to have access to food or water. Then you're going to grow weak and then you're just going to die. Like, you don't survive outside your comfort zone, because your mind has no way of conceptualizing what's beyond that point, because it's not part of the subconscious programming, right? So I think most people have this massive fear of being seen as a failure, but if there's no possible way of you failing because you're going to continue regardless, that feeling kind of subsides because it's like, okay, well, I can't be seen as a failure because I'm not going to fail. Like, this is either going to shape me, this is going to help me realize something, this is going to become this journey that I've always wanted to be on. A perspective shift that I always use that is massively helpful is when you focus less on the outcome and more about the version of yourself that you get to be. That's when things just become so effortless and you don't have that feeling in your belly like, oh, I'm so scared what people think. It just kind of disappears. I've had moments in my business where I've been so hyper focused on what I'm going to get out of it, like the outcome, like what this is going to mean, what I get to say, or things like that. And those moments in my life are when my business has been the slowest. I felt the most stuck and I've created the most suffering because nothing moves. Energetically, you've created so much stagnancy around that. So for me, my go-to is to focus on the version of myself that I get to be, how this is the evolution of me, right? Who I get to become in that moment, or what I get to learn, or how that skill set is going to benefit me in this situation. So I think sometimes when you focus more on who you get to be rather than the goals and what people are going to think and what it's going to mean if you don't hit them, you can't fail because it was never about the outcome. It was just about you versus you.
So in a sense, you're always striving towards the goal anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So someone else has asked, how do you stay motivated towards a goal that's so far away? You know, they can lose motivation after like 2 weeks.
Okay. So this is such perfect timing for those that have set goals for January and they're like, I'm going to take over the new year and this new year is going to be fantastic. And all the people that have joined the gym that are going to go for 2 weeks and leave. What this means is what you are searching for is validation, proof that what you're doing is working. And most people cannot stick out their goals long enough because they don't get that proof instantly. So that's why a lot of people, when they start to lose weight and they lose all of the water weight and everything goes great and they see the results, they feel different. And then it gets to like month 2 or month 3 and the progress slows down massively because their body's had chance to catch up. They will throw in the towel. Most people will throw in the towel at that point. And the reason why is because you are searching for validation externally. You're looking for that feedback of, okay, well, there's the reward or things are changing, I'm doing the right thing. But when you don't have that and you don't have that level of self-trust or self-belief to continue anyway, like you won't be able to continue because you use that feedback as data that what you're doing is right. But you've never been able to give that to yourself. Oh, I'm doing the right thing because I feel this way. Or I feel like I'm better today than I was yesterday. So because you've never been able to lead yourself without having that external feedback, it's almost impossible for you to succeed at something because especially when you don't have the results yet. So when we set long-term goals, the focus or the motivation has to be internal. It cannot be based on what you see in your reality, what you get access to, or what things change. It has to be about how you feel, what you've realized, something that you faced today that you didn't even know existed. For example, if you become aware of self-sabotage and you've a way in which you self-sabotage that you weren't aware of before, that's progress. So I think when you look for the right markers, it becomes so easy to stay devoted to something because you're not looking for that external feedback. You're looking for the internal shifts that are happening and you use them as markers instead now. And that's how I've stayed really disciplined and devoted to this is I'm noticing all the ways that I'm changing every day. And to me, that's growth. That's the movement. That's the thing that's like, oh, it's working. Oh, this is, even if my reality hasn't had a chance to catch up. So I think that's the most important part to staying really consistent with things is making sure you're looking for the right things, not just looking for validation.
So you're also seeing the personal growth alongside the financial benefits of what you're searching for. Yeah. Okay. So the last question is, there are so many people that do what I do. How do you stand out without feeling like you're just copying someone else?
Okay, it's my favorite question. So when people say things like, you know, when you have that imposter syndrome and you just assume that you are not going to be successful because somebody else has done it first, I don't know who came up with the idea that success means that you have to be the first person that's done something or to be the only person that's done something. And my favorite story is the person who ran the first 4-minute mile, which was, what was his name? Sir Roger. I can't remember his name. There was a person who ran a mile in just under 4 minutes. And within like such a short amount of time, somebody else did it. And this first person to do it was the first person in existence to ever run a mile that fast that was recorded and documented. And everybody couldn't understand how he'd do it that fast. And it was such a revelation at the time. It was like, that is insane. And then somebody did it not long after. And it just goes to show that just because you aren't the first to do something doesn't mean that you're not still going to have this insane impact. Sometimes seeing somebody else achieve something, seeing somebody else do what you want to do can speak to that level of desire in you and make it seem like it's more doable, make it seem or give you an idea that you've never had before. So I think if you do have that imposter syndrome, I want you to be conscious that you are looking for a lot of external feedback. You are looking for something to validate that version of you. You don't need permission to be that version of yourself. You don't need to look at everybody else and think, oh, well, they've done it that way, so that must mean I've got to do it that way. And they speak about this thing and that. It makes me uncomfortable watching other people succeed. It doesn't have to mean that. You can detach yourself from everybody you don't want to look at. It doesn't mean that you can't still walk the path. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get results. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means that you have to learn to do it your way. You have to learn to do it in a way that speaks to you and makes you feel like you can take over the world and have the biggest impact. So stop focusing on the fact that other people have done it before you, because that is always going to be the case. You're going to do it in your way and no one's done that before.
So in a way, like, greatness is still greatness, no matter if someone's done it first.
That. I might get that tattooed. What I really want you to take away from this episode is that if you are listening to this, the chances are you are not normal in the best possible way. And I think when you finally accept the fact that you don't want to live a normal life, normal things that you would normally fixate over can kind of be put to bed, okay? You need to start focusing on the evolution of you, what lights you up, what moves you forward, what inspires you the most, and what awakens the version of yourself that you've always wanted to be. And me documenting my journey is permission for you to finally accept yours. Thanks for listening to today's podcast. We release episodes every single week, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And to get a full behind the scenes of this journey and how we're scaling to 7 figures in the next 12 months, make sure you join the Energetic Blueprint membership in the link below.